Today, I'm talking about something that shufflers ask me all the time. And that question is, should I shuffle in front of a mirror or should I practice with a mirror? Now, I'm about to drop a very unpopular opinion right now. And you could probably guess that my answer is no to that question, but I'm going to tell you why I believe that and basically just shift your perspective a little bit because we know that that's what, shuffle shred is all about. So, when people rely too much on dancing in front of a mirror, a few things happen. Number one, what you're seeing in the mirror is not actually 100% accurate to what you actually look like as a dancer, right? You are looking in the mirror and you're fixating on just one specific thing. You're fixating on your feet, on your face, on your chest. And while those are okay things to fixate on, to focus on small details in your shuffling, it's actually taking away from your creativity in that exact moment. So I'm going to explain all of the reasons why I personally don't shuffle in front of a mirror and what I recommend that my students do instead. So, when you dance in front of a mirror, the first major issue is that your eyes are glued to your reflection. What that literally means, and if you're listening to this on the non-visual podcast side of things, just try to visualize it. What that means is your eyes are fixed forward and your head also get fixed in that position. So even if you're trying to move naturally, your neck is cranked towards where the mirror is, right? And yes, the same thing can happen if you're filming yourself, like you would want to be fixed and keeping your face on the camera. And to a degree, I totally get that from a performance standpoint, right? If you're wanting to perform, having your face being seen as part of the performance. But that's actually limiting a lot of your creativity when it comes to rotating your body while you're shuffling, traveling and using your whole space. A great dancer, I believe this wholeheartedly, dances with their head as well. Their head is looking from side to side, right? As they are doing things. Sometimes their gaze and their neck will actually rotate and look the direction that they're traveling before their body travels there. That to me is a huge signal of what makes someone like a really well-rounded dancer, is that their head is not just stuck in one fixed position, okay? You are probably afraid to move naturally, or you're probably afraid to use all of your space or even turn away from the camera because you're so fixated, literally and figuratively, on trying to keep sight of yourself. Real dancing happens in a 3D space. If you go and shuffle in a shuffle circle at a festival, for example, or at a show, you don't have a mirror. You have to be available and open to moving around your space and actually looking in different directions or interacting with different people in the crowd. That's what this dance is all about. That's what dance in general is all about. The mirror tends to keep your gaze locked, and it keeps you and prevents you from using your space fully and whole, in a whole different way. All right. The second thing is you're too reliant on the mirror. The mirror becomes a crutch. You feel safe when you can see yourself, but the second that you turn away, or maybe the second you go into that shuffle circle example, or you're at a festival where you don't have the mirror, you freeze. It becomes this comfort zone because you actually haven't learned how to feel into each move, and you're too busy trying to see what that move looks like, and it's just a comfort zone that you get stuck in and you're not able to actually bring out into the real world. You're not bringing your mirror with you when you go and shuffle in the real world, right? So I don't want my students to have that type of crutch. Yeah. The third thing, and this is actually probably the most important one to me, and it's that your brain is immediately in conflict mode when you are looking in the mirror and trying to be creative at the same time. I'm a firm believer that the brain needs something to focus on and fixate on. But when you are so busy trying to analyze what you are doing while you are doing it, you're wearing too many hats at once. The first hat you put on is your creativity hat, right? You're like, I'm shuffling. I want to listen to the music. I want to make sure I'm hitting those beats. I want to freestyle. I want to have variety. I want to have clean technique. Like it's your creativity brain. But then when you're dancing in the mirror, you are trying to analyze and you are trying to correct yourself as you're going. So on top of your creativity hat, you're stuffing on an analysis hat. This is a critical side of you, right? It is, and critical doesn't always have to be bad, but like it's logical. Maybe it's being picky, it's being technical. And while we need all of those things in order to improve as a shuffler or as a dancer in general, we don't need it over top of your creativity hat. Those two sides of you are constantly going to be battling. You cannot effectively analyze what you're doing while you are doing it through your eyes. You can, if you turn away from the mirror, you can analyze what you're doing and if it looks and feels right based on how it feels. So if I'm doing a running man and I'm looking in the mirror, sometimes your eyes and your brain plays tricks on you and it's like, yep, everything looks good. But the second I turn away, I'm realizing, my perch, my leg is way too far back. Or when I'm landing, I actually feel like my knees are really stiff when I'm landing. I need to bend into them more. You start relying on the mirror to give you feedback rather than relying on what your body is actually doing and how it's feeling. And I have a really funny story about this. I taught a class in New York a couple weeks ago, and one of the first things I said in the class, I was like, number one, get ready to be uncomfortable. Number two, we're going to do a large portion of this class facing away from the mirror. And when I tell you people went white as a ghost and their mouths dropped open and they were like, oh shit, they were not expecting that, right? But what happened was amazing. They took the challenge. They were so open to it. And I literally saw some of the dancers that I knew, I saw them dancing more freely, more creatively, more connected than ever before. And the dancers that it was my first time meeting them, they said it was actually so awesome to turn away from the mirror and to be focusing on how they're feeling, letting their brain just fixate on what they're doing rather than trying to critique it in that exact moment. So this is proof that although that might be scary, although the mirror might feel like a security blanket for you, it is so worth it on the other side of it, okay? So how, if you're not looking in the mirror and you're not analyzing and making corrections on the spot, how can you make sure that what you're doing in your dance is actually translating visually how you want it to? This is my solution. Use your phone. Use your phone and record yourself, okay? Even if you have no intentions of putting these videos anywhere, even if you are recording just for the sake of literally giving yourself visual feedback, this is going to be the most powerful way that you can start coaching yourself as a shuffler and not just trying to react in the moment to what you're seeing in the mirror. So there's two different ways that you can do this, okay? Number one, you could record a good amount of your session, right? Even if you like stop and start every time you throw a round, right? We usually dance for approximately 1 minute around that time. So you can like hit record, throw your 1 minute round, and then stop. However, in option one, you are only going to watch these videos at the end of your session. Maybe you even watch them the next day, okay? This is for the person who tends to be highly self-critical. Sometimes watching your videos back immediately after and trying to course correct, that's option two. Spoiler alert, we'll get there in a second. Sometimes that's too hard for people. Like it's hard on their mental state because they're constantly in critic mode. So my recommendation is base your training off of how things are feeling, off of the technique that you know you should have. Realistically, you know where your feet should be in your running man. You know where your weight distribution should be in your T-step. And if you don't, you got to make sure you have the right teacher, the right support system to help you with that. But you can record the session and watch it back later, then put on your analysis hat. Then you're going to sit down. You're going to actually put your analysis hat on and you're going to take notes. You will notice so much more in a positive way. Like you're going to notice things that you would have never picked up in the mirror that you can say, perfect, this is exactly what I'm going to focus on and what I'm going to work on in my next session. Okay. This is also going to help you because you weren't sitting there and analyzing yourself in the mirror. You're going to have done so much more cool, creative stuff that when you do go back and watch your session and put on your analysis hat, you're going to say, oh my God, that looked really awesome. Let me actually refine that a little bit. Let me change it. Let me modify it and turn it into something even more spectacular, right? You're just going to be able to analyze so much better when you separate your creativity brain, which is when you're dancing, and your analysis brain. So option 1, film the session as you want, but don't watch it until after, okay? Option 2 is course correcting as you go. Now, this is what I typically tend to do, but I also am really good at coaching my brain and not letting myself get into this like really self-critical mindset while I'm dancing. So this is what I usually do. I record for the minute, however long my round is. And then while I am resting for a minute or 2 minutes or whatever in between before I throw my next shuffle round, I'm watching the video back. So now I can catch those technical glitches immediately, right? I'm saying like, maybe I need to use my hips a little bit more here in my scissor. Okay, cool. I'm going to focus on that in my next round. Or, oh, that was a really cool creative thing that I did. Maybe I moved my upper body in an interesting way. I'm going to play around with that a little bit more in my next round. It gives you more of that immediate kind of feedback, almost as if you were in like a one-to-one lesson with a teacher and they were literally giving you feedback. And that is going to help you, again, have your creativity brain on when you're dancing and have your analysis brain on while you are breaking, right? Instead of watching it at the very end. So those are 2 options that you can play with and interchange between the 2. Some days you might feel like, no, I'm good. I'm feeling pretty good today. I'm going to just watch it back in between every round. And on some days you might be like, I'm having kind of a hard mindset day in shuffling. I'm going to just record. I'm going to focus on sinking into it. And then I'm going to watch it later on today, or I'm going to watch it tomorrow morning, or whatever the case may be. There is so many ways to dance, to see yourself, to make changes to your flow without the mirror, okay? Here is the thing. How do we bridge the gap now when you watch your video back and you think, maybe that looks off? Or as I was saying, if you don't actually know what technique you're striving for, it's very hard to fix what you don't understand or what you haven't been taught. And so this is where my Footwork Blueprint program comes in. It is a fundamentals program that is geared towards either completely new or early stage shufflers, or advanced dancers or dancers who have been shuffling for maybe a year or longer, who are watching their videos back and being like, something is messy, something is missing, something's not clicking, but I don't know what that is. This course is going to help you fill in all of the gaps. It's going to be kind of like your analysis metric, right? So when you're doing your Running Man, you're going to be able to say, okay, I learned this in the Footwork Blueprint. I'm noticing that my foot is not actually as square as it should be. Let's go back and edit it based on that technique point that I would have given you in the course, right? So it becomes an analysis metric, and it's a roadmap so that you can figure out your body mechanics so that every video is improving, you're seeing more progress, and you're feeling more and more confident. That way, when you watch your footage back, you're going to know exactly where your hip placement should be. You're going to know where your weight should be distributed. You will know if things are clicking, and you'll be able to pick out those things to make constant improvement as a shuffle dancer. So if you want to stop guessing, number 1, break up with the mirror, at least temporarily, or at least try to mix in what I was saying about filming with your phone. But number 2, the Footwork Blueprint is going to be an amazing addition and add-on to all of this. I'm going to drop the details inside of the caption in the show notes. I hope this was helpful. Let me know how it goes. I'll see you in the next video.